There's a little boy out there running and shouting, "I'm a superhero!" Out of nowhere, childhood memories hit me like a slap in the face.
Judging by your tone, I can tell you're about to tell an embarrassing story, right?
Not just one story, but a whole long-running series.
Tell me then, I've got some free time.
When I was little, I was obsessed with martial arts movies. So obsessed that I used a broom as a sword and wrapped a bath towel around my neck as a cape. One rainy afternoon, I jumped onto a plastic chair in the middle of the yard and yelled, "I am the ultimate martial arts master."
I'm starting to worry about the fate of that chair.
Well, I jumped from the chair to the ground.
Don't tell me you broke your leg?
No, my leg didn't break, but the chair snapped in half. I was stuck in the plastic pile, unable to get up. It didn't hurt much, but the embarrassment was immense, because the whole neighborhood sheltering from the rain was staring at me like a fish caught in a net.
At least you became the most famous person in the neighborhood after that.
Famous in a way that whenever they saw me, they'd ask, "No martial arts practice today, kiddo?"
Haha, I know that feeling. Back in second grade, I was convinced I was the school's heartthrob.
Have you lost that confidence now?
Looking back, I realize I was just completely delusional. At the time, I liked a girl in my class and decided to impress her by singing to her in front of the whole class.
I smell danger already.
I chose a super romantic song, but I was so nervous that I forgot the lyrics halfway through.
Then what? Did you just quit?
No, I made up the lyrics on the spot. The original line was, "You are like the morning sun," but I blurted out, "You are like a bowl of noodle soup from the market."
Haha, and how did she react?
The whole class burst out laughing, and the teacher laughed so hard she had to slump onto her desk. Meanwhile, she looked at me with an expression that said, "Who are you, and why are you in my life?"
And you gave up on love after that?
No way, I was stubborn. The next day, I decided to give her a piece of candy to apologize. But unfortunately, the weather was too hot, and the candy melted in my pocket. When I pulled it out to hand it to her, it was sticky and slimy like evidence from a crime scene.
Ew. If I were her, I would have transferred schools immediately.
From that day on, my friends called me Love Noodle Soup, a nickname that sounded both cheesy and smelled like broth.
Haha. You still had it easy. When I was little, I thought I was a princess. I wrapped the curtains around myself as a ball gown and did a catwalk around the house. Who would have thought I'd trip over the fan cord?
Wait, was the fan running?
Yes, spinning on the highest speed. The curtain got sucked in, spinning me around like a kid-sized version of a Peking roast duck.
Oh my goodness, who saved you then?
My mom ran out and turned off the fan, but she laughed even louder than the noise of the fan itself.
Childhood is truly the source of memories you just want to bury forever.
But it's so strange. Even though it was so embarrassing back then, looking back now makes me happy.
Because when we were kids, we were genuine and didn't fear losing face. Now that we're adults, sending the wrong sticker makes you want to vanish from the face of the earth.
Exactly. The other day, I texted my boss, "Thank you, sir," but my hand was faster than my brain and I sent a heart-shooting icon with it. I turned off my phone for 2 hours because I was shaking.
Haha, classic adulthood. As kids, we fell flat on our faces in the yard and just stood up laughing it off. As adults, sending a wrong message makes us want to move to another country.
That's why, even though we lacked technology back then, we were rich in laughter. Holding a broom made you a swordsman. Wrapping a towel turned you into a hero.
And now, no matter how fancy our gadgets are, something feels missing. Probably because when we were young, we used our imagination to embrace the whole world.
Absolutely true.
Hey, did you do anything else silly back then that you've never told anyone?
There is this one thing. In 5th grade, I read a story about people putting letters in glass bottles and throwing them into the sea to find soulmates. I copied them.
But your house wasn't anywhere near the sea, right?
Well, I threw it down the sewer grate in front of my house. I even stood there with my hands clasped, praying, "Please let someone read my innermost thoughts."
Haha. Oh my god. So who ended up reading it?
My dad, because the bottle clogged the sewer in front of our door. My dad used a stick to fish it out, then stood in the middle of the house and read it out loud for the whole family. Today, I'm sad because Mom won't let me have a cat.
Your life is literally a sitcom.
What about you? I bet yours wasn't any better.
I used to use medicated oil as perfume. I thought a guy had to have a strong scent to be masculine. I splashed half a bottle on myself.
Good Lord! It's a miracle you're still alive.
When I walked into class that day, everyone's eyes were watering. The teacher thought someone was secretly chopping onions. The girl I liked turned to me and said, "Why do you look like a walking salonpas patch?"
Ha ha ha. That sounds truly pathetic.
Yeah, I wanted to die of embarrassment back then. But looking back now, I feel kind of fondly toward my foolish younger self.
Exactly. Things that once made us want to sink into the ground are now the very things that make us smile with relief.
Yeah, even though we were a bit foolish back then, actually, very foolish is more accurate.
But that's what made childhood so memorable, right?
Come to think of it, the teenage years are truly when people are most likely to do the craziest things in the name of love.
Absolutely. Just a fleeting glance from your crush was enough inspiration to write a 3-page diary entry that night.
Love back then was somehow both innocent and intense. A 1-second eye contact and you'd already planned the wedding and named all your future children.
I actually switched seats for a whole month just to be near my crush, you know.
Oh, how romantic.
No, it was just because that spot was closest to the only fan in the classroom, but liking them was real. In 10th grade, I made an effort to go to school early to fake accidental encounters.
Ah, the classic destined to meet across 1,000 miles trick, but actually completely calculated?
Exactly, but if you overcalculate, you oversleep, and if you plan too perfectly, you end up arriving so early that the security guard hasn't even opened the school gates yet.
Haha, then what? You just stood on the street waiting.
I had to stand there hugging my backpack against the lamppost like a homeless person waiting for the future to open up. When she arrived, she stared at me wide-eyed and asked, why are you at school before the sun is even awake?"
So how did you reply to sound cool?
I panicked and blurted out, "Because I love education." Ha ha! Loving education? That sounds so grand, dude.
Yeah, from then on, whenever there was a study campaign, she would look at me like I was the savior of the nation's education system.
Back in high school, I also texted with someone until 2 or 3 in the morning.
Oh, pouring your hearts out all night long? That's intense.
Not at all. We just sent goofy cat memes to roast each other. But we were so sensitive back then. If they left me on red for just 5 minutes, I'd already be scripting a scenario where they were about to get married.
Oh God, the text analysis game. Normally they'd text a sweet, okay, then out of nowhere one day, they just send a single okay with a period.
And your whole world immediately falls apart.
I'd lie awake all night thinking, did I do something wrong to ruin things? When in reality, they were just so sleepy they could barely keep their eyes open.
Exactly. Writing the script, acting it out, and breaking your own heart for no reason.
Looking back, first love is truly unforgettable. I even went out of my way to wear perfume to school because my crush sat right behind me.
Please don't tell me you poured half a bottle of medicated oil on yourself again.
No, I learned my lesson. But I accidentally sprayed a bit too much, and when I walked past the classroom next door, they started asking around, who spilled floor cleaner?
Haha. Oh my God, what kind of perfume smells like floor cleaner?
I was so embarrassed after that, I went online to search, how for men to smell mysteriously good.
And what did the website suggest?
It said, take regular showers.
Haha. Extremely practical advice that leaves you speechless.
What about you? As a teen, you must have been the dreamy, girly type, right?
No way. I was the cold on the outside, crazy on the inside type. Back then, I liked an upperclassman. Every time he walked down the hallway, I would pretend to look for something on the floor.
Why? Pretending to drop your love.
Because I was too shy and didn't know where to look. Once, he had been gone for ages, but I was still squatting there searching. My best friend walked by, leaned in, and whispered, "Are you trying to find your dropped self-respect?"
Your friend is savage, but it's true, back then, standing in front of your crush made your IQ automatically drop to sub-zero.
Totally. Once he asked to borrow a pen. I was so nervous that I gave him an empty one. He stood there, clicking it for a while, then gave me a helpless look. That was the moment love ran out of ink before it could even blossom.
Haha. But that's adorable. I used to screenshot and save my crush's messages back then.
Me too. What kind of text did they send that made you save them?
She sent exactly 3 words. Exam tomorrow, okay. And I reread it over and over like a wartime love letter.
Haha. As for me, I'd open old chats just to see what they called me, only to find the word hey, and somehow, I still found it thrilling.
That's the beauty of being a teen. Just a tiny bit of attention was enough to make you happy all day. Now that we're older, if someone texts, "Make sure to eat well," your brain immediately wonders, "Wait, is this a scam?"
Exactly. Adults are always skeptical, while youth is always trusting. Trusting in forever, in fairy tale love. Even though those relationships didn't lead anywhere in the end, they remain the most beautiful memories.
Yeah, some people might not walk with us to the very end, but they made our entire youth shine brightly.
Oh, did today's coffee turn you into a poetic philosopher?
Probably because I'm getting older, so I tend to feel nostalgic. But if you could go back to being a teen for one day, what would you want to do most?
I would be less shy.
To confess your feelings?
No, to stand up sooner after pretending to look for stuff, because squatting for that long made my legs completely numb.
Classic you. As for me, I just want to talk to them more naturally. Back then, I thought I had to be perfect to be liked. Now I understand that people remember us more for our clumsy, endearing moments.
Whatever you say, the place that bred the most drama and laughter during university was definitely the dorm.
Absolutely. It was our crash course in survival skills.
And it was also the place that taught us to helplessly accept the flaws and bad habits of our fellow humans.
Like what, for example?
My roommate sleepwalking and talking in her sleep. Normally, sleep talking is fine, but she'd have full-blown arguments with an invisible person at 3 a.m.
That's creepy. Is it possible that...
I was sleeping soundly that night when she suddenly sat up and screamed, "No, that's mine!" I was startled almost to tears. Then she just lay back down and slept as if nothing had happened.
Sharing a room like that, I'd probably have to go get a protective amulet.
Still better than my old roommate. He was so frugal he'd cut a tissue paper in half to use it twice.
Good lord, that's next level saving.
That's not all. Every time the AC was on, he'd calculate the electricity bill like a chief accountant. Even under the scorching midday sun, he'd casually say, "Humans must live in harmony with nature."
So who ended up hugging the fan tightest that night?
Him, who else? So much for living in harmony with nature.
Haha. There's an unwritten rule in dorms. When you first move in, everyone is incredibly polite and sweet. Like, you shower first, or I'm easygoing. Anything works.
And exactly 1 month later,
Who ate my yogurt?
who took my clothes hangers and didn't return them?
Spot on. Dorm life turns innocent souls into litigating lawyers over a roll of toilet paper.
But what I remember most are the nights cramming for finals. That atmosphere of shared despair was incredibly fun.
Right. One person would be chanting the lesson like a spell, another burning incense to pray, and someone else playing 5-minute subject summaries on YouTube.
And there was always one person boldly declaring, "Just sleep, guys, our fate is already sealed."
You were that person, weren't you?
Exactly. There was a time I pulled an all-nighter cramming for graphic design. The next morning, I dragged my lifeless body into the exam room.
And? Did you do well?
I worked intensely for 10 minutes, only to look at the prompt and see, "Analyze macroeconomic fluctuations."
Haha. Wait, why didn't anyone kick you out?
Because I arrived late and walked in looking so aggressive that the proctor assumed I was a delinquent student. After reading the prompt, I wondered if I had just traveled to a parallel universe.
Ha ha ha. So how did you handle it?
I stood up, turned in a blank draft sheet, and quietly walked out like a genius who had just realized the ultimate truth of life. Everyone probably thought I left because I was too smart.
Or because you were utterly hopeless?
That too. And speaking of dorms, we have to mention the creative meals at the end of the month.
Oh, instant noodles mixed with cold rice, rice paper dipped in soy sauce.
Once, my room gathered all the leftover ingredients to cook a hot pot. We had sausages, eggs, vegetables, fish cakes, and a bar of chocolate.
Wait, where did the chocolate come from? And why put it in the hot pot?
My roommate was eating it and accidentally dropped it in. We were so broke back then, we couldn't bear to fish it out and throw it away.
So how did it taste?
One bite, and it felt like my taste buds were immediately filing a resignation letter. It was sweet, salty, with a faint aroma of cocoa.
That's truly horrific. But strangely, even though we struggled back then, we were always laughing our heads off.
Because we ate together back then, having someone to share with and laugh with made poverty feel a lot lighter.
I remember one day, the dorm had a sudden power outage. The whole floor dragged their chairs out to the hallway to cool off. Since there was no Wi-Fi, everyone started talking to each other.
Sounds peaceful, like the days before smartphones.
Yeah, it was great. We even gathered to tell ghost stories until 2 a.m.
So who was the most scared?
Me, of course. That night, I had to drag 2 other guys with me just to go to the bathroom.
Dorm life is exactly where the concept of privacy completely vanishes. Everywhere you go has witnesses, and every argument has an audience.
But it's magical. Despite being cramped, hot, and noisy, looking back now, I only remember the laughter. Staying up all night talking nonsense, sharing the very last pack of instant noodles.
Probably because back then we had nothing, but we had so many people by our side. Now that we're older, everyone is busy making a living. Getting everyone together is harder than passing general education courses back then.
Exactly. Despite the chaos and the lack of money, that was the time we lived most authentically and laughed the most.
And it was also the place that turned strangers from all over the country into our own little family.
Why did that suddenly get so emotional out of nowhere?
Probably because the second cup of coffee is starting to kick in? Or is it because we've actually grown old?
Come on, but if I could go back to the dorm for just one night, I'd still do it.
Me too. Even if I had to sleep on that rock-hard metal bed.
Even if the AC was sometimes freezing like the Arctic and other times boiling like a desert.
Yeah, I could handle all of it.
Even if you had to use that terrifying communal bathroom?
Let me think about that one again.
Haha, I knew it.
But it's true that there are places you just want to escape as fast as possible while you're there, yet you miss them terribly once you leave.
The dorm is exactly that kind of place. Full of laughter, arguments, borrowed stuff, and the sound of an alarm clock being slammed off every morning.